Hey there, YouTube, it's Brand Freeze Laser, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that I think a lot of people in the Yu-Gi-Oh community get upset about, and it has to happen for the game to stay fresh. And basically what I'm talking about is something in Magic that's called the power creep. And the power creep is when, let's say, in Legend of Blue Eyes, the base average stat attack for a monster was 14 to 1500 on average. That was the average amount. And then let's say 2 or 3 sets pass by, and then they raise that amount to 16 to 17. And then let's say 3 or 4 sets pass by, and they raise it to an average of 18 on normal. Okay, so 18 is pretty high, because now you're getting close to 2000. And and then they bring out like one 1900 monster, that you can normal summon. And then they start to bring out monsters that you can special summon that have 19 and above. And then they start to bring out monsters that you can special summon that have more than 2000. So this is what the power creep is. It's the game basically perpetuating itself via stronger monsters that are easier to bring out. And we've seen this through, let's say, just normal summoning, and then special summoning through cards like Monster Reborn or something, and then inherent special summons like we'll say Water Spirit, or like Chaos Sorcerer is an inherent special summon, Cyber Dragon, and then synchro summoning. Now synchro summoning is a way of getting out stronger big monsters quickly, and then after that was Exceeds. So Exceeds is the newest way to just bust 5 or 6 monsters onto the, or 4 or 5 monsters onto the field without really trying. And this is the power creep, and a lot of people like it, but a lot of people don't like it. Like, for example, I've been playing on DN, and people try to use stall cards that level 4 or lower can't attack, or level 4 or lower go into defense mode, or level 4 or lower, whatever. Exceeds are rank, so rank is unaffected by any card that says that level 4 or lower, which like isn't, I'm not gonna say is broken, because cards like Gravity Bind and Level Limit Area B are kind of slow, like really slow. Level Limit Area B not so much, because you can just bring it out, but it doesn't work against Exceed monsters. So when you bring out an Exceed, they're not levels, they're ranks, so they're totally unaffected by it. So if your opponent has 2 or 3 Exceeds on the board, and then like a couple regular monsters that are level 4, you're not really doing a whole lot. And I think that this is interesting, because now this gives Konami the ability to make cards that affect rank monsters instead of just whatever. Or they can make more blanket effects. Like, let's say instead of Level Limit Area B, there's a card that just says monsters your opponent control go into defense mode as long as this card's on the board. Or destroy all monsters with power 2500 or more, or something, whatever, just like something like that, because then it'll hit Exceeds. You won't have really a problem of going, oh, let me activate my Gravity Bind, haha, your monsters are level 3, and then your opponent brings out Zenmaines, or a Leviathan or something, and then now what are you gonna do? Now you have a 2500 level 3 monster looking at you, or rank 3, and your Gravity Bind is useless, or your level limit's useless. So something like this is necessary to move the game forward, but when you do stuff like this, it causes problems like the ones I just explained, where they're unaffected by cards that hit levels, not ranks. I think that it's crazy that you can do so much now. A lot of my decks are kind of like 75% synchros, 25% Exceeds, or vice versa. And it's really cool, but it's crazy, because now you have to balance what you want to do. Do I want to synchro more? Do I want to Exceed more? What's more important? I've learned that running 2 Zenmaines is pretty good if you're running Pot of Greed, because then you can just put them back into your deck, whatever. Diva has been pretty powerful as of late. Tour Guide, I have a deck right now. I'll put the deck list up in a couple episodes, or a couple days, or whatever, that I've really been liking. It basically just runs a lot of recruiters, like 3 divas, 2 tour guides, and then Sangan. I've been using Kushano, Fabled Kushano, and I really like Fabled Kushano. I think he's really good, and he's Chaos Fuel. So, you can't tune him when you bring him out, but that doesn't really matter because you just bring out his Zen mains. When the Zen mains dies, you have food for your BLS or your one sorcerer or whatever. Divas make rank, level 5s, and then you can go into something else, whatever, and then you can, if you're level 5 survived, you bring out another diva, you go into a rank 5 or something, and it's pretty powerful. I use Birdmans, so I'll bring out a diva, bring out a Birdman, so I can recycle diva back to my hand and use it again next turn, use the effect again. It's pretty crazy, but yeah. So I guess in the comment section below, do you think that the game has gotten too fast, too quickly? Like is it crazy fast, and did it happen too quickly, or do you think that this is about the right speed? It's a good speed to be at. The game's at a pretty balanced level. And what do you think will happen next? What do you think the power creep will bring next? Do you think that they'll make monsters where you can just make them from your hand? Do you think they'll have monsters where, kind of like Valu's effect, where if you have, 2 monsters in the graveyard, banish them and then make this guy from your extra deck or whatever? What do you think Konami has up their sleeve for the next thing? When I first heard of, Synchro Monsters, I was like, that's, ridiculous. And then the cartoon had Exceeds in it, and we were like, what? How are they going to do that? How are they going to make Exceeds? That's crazy. How would they make these black cards? Whatever. And, they did it. So, I don't know if there's new monsters in the Japanese cartoons or whatever, but what do you think's coming next? And do you think that the game got too fast, too quickly recently, or do you think it's perfect? And basically that's it for now. Hit that like button if you like my video, and you can always subscribe to see when I put new videos out or not. And thanks for watching.